Welcome students to our new YouTube channel PharmaX Tech, the division of excellence. So let's start to the aerosol. So in last we see the aerosol part first, then let's continue to the aerosol part 2. So in the first part we see the some basic informative study of the aerosol. So in the next part aerosol we see the details about this aerosol. So this aerosol is a pressurized dosage form containing one or more active ingredients. And the advantages of the aerosols, they are the dose can be removed without contamination of remaining materials, and also the stability is enhanced those affected by oxygen or the moisture, and when the sterility as an important factor it can be maintained, and the medication can be delivered directly to the affected area, and the irritation can be eliminated in the aerosol. So next we see the some components of the aerosol. The aerosol components content. The first one is propellant, second one is container, third one is valve and actuator, and the fourth one is product concentrate. So we see the first one is propellant. So this propellant develops proper pressure within the container and also expel product when the valve is open, and also the aid of propellant is in aid in atomization or in foam production. So next we see the some example of propellants. So the propellant 11 is known as trichloromonofluoromethane, and propellant 12 is dichloro-difluoromethane, and propellant 114 is known as dichlorotetrafluoroethane. So all these propellant 11 trichloromonofluoromethane and propellant 12 dichloro-difluoromethane and propellant 114, that means propellant 114 is known as dichlorotetrafluoroethane. So all these three are oral and inhalational propellants. So the next one is propellant 1520, that means propellant 1520. So this propellant 1520 is known as difluoroethane, and these propellant 1520 is liquefied. And the next one is propellant A17 is butane, and propellant A31 is isobutane, and propellant A108 is propane. So all these propellants, butane, isobutane and propane, they are topical preparations or the use in topical. So the next one is compressed gas, and the examples of the compressed gas are nitrogen, carbon dioxide and nitrous oxide. And also by varying the proportion of each compound and the desired vapor pressure can be achieved, and the vapor pressure of a mixture of a propellant can be calculated according to the Dalton's law, that means Pt is equal to sum of the individual pressure, and the Rahd's law, the lowering of the vapor pressure of liquid by addition of another substitution, and also the depression of vapor pressure alpha mole fraction of the solute molecule. Then the second one is containers. So these containers must withstand with pressure as high as 140 to 180 psig at 130 degree Fahrenheit to 70 degree Celsius. And the metals used in the containers, they are tin plated steel, aluminium, stainless steel. The stainless steel is used for the inhalational aerosol. So the next one is glass. The glass container, they are contain the plastic coating. This plastic coating is for totally adhered except the neck ring. Next we see the advantages of the aluminium. So the aluminium is more compatible, and aluminium have the greater resistance, and also however may be corroded by the pure H2O, that means water, and pure ethanol. So next is the valve. So the valve In that, the continuous spray valve has following components: the ferrule and mounting cap. This ferrule and mounting cap is used to attach the valve proper to the container. Then next we see the components and the material used. The first one is ferrule or mounting cup, single or double epoxy or vinyl coating, resistance to the corrosion. The material used is tin plate, aluminium may be used. And also the second component is valve body or housing, 0.013 to 0.080 inch, and the material used is nylon or the Delrin. Third one is stem, 0.013 to 0.030 inch. The material used for the stem is nylon or Delrin. And also the brass, stainless steel can be used. The fourth one is gasket. The material used for the gasket is Buna, yarn and neoprene rubber. So the next one is spring. The spring is made up of stainless steel. The material used is stainless steel for the spring. And the next one is a dip tube. The dip tube, the material used for the dip tube is polyethylene or propylene, or this polyethylene or propylene is more rigid. And the inner diameter of this dip tube is 0.120 to 0.125 inch. This is for highly viscous, that means 0.195 inch. So next we see the metering valve. So this metering valve is for dispensing of potent medicines, and in that the 50 to 150 plus 10% liquid can be dispensed at one time with the use of such valves. The next one is actuator. This actuator is used for the delivery of drug in a proper and desired form. And the types are spray, foam, solid stream and special application, 0.070 to 0.125 inch. And also this actuator is to deliver the medicines to appropriate site of action, and the examples are throat, nose and eyes. And the spray is for topical use, 0.016 to 0.040 inch of this is the spray height. And the low boiling propellant 12. So the low boiling propellant 12 or propane, the actuator have large opening rads consist of a 700 ml collapsible plastic. So the actuator have large opening rads consist of a 700 milliliter collapsible elastic. And also a new meter propellant free intranasal pump introduced to deliver the funisolid and steroidal agents. So next we see the meter dose inhalers. The meter dose inhalers is for the nasal passage and also the respiratory airway. And the formulation of pharmaceutical aerosol, the components are product concentrate and the propellant. The product concentrate is the active ingredients. So the next one is mixture of active ingredients. They are solvent, antioxidant and surfactants. And also the aerosol may be dispensed as the fine mist, wet spray, stable foam and solid, and also semi-solid and quick breaking foam. Next we see the types of system in aerosol system. First one is solution system. So in the solution system, two phases, this is two-phase system. First one is vapor and second one is liquid. And in that, when active ingredient soluble in propellant, no other solvent is required for the process of the solution system. And also the propellant used is about 5% foam plus 95% inhalational propellant may consist of 12 or A70 products. And also the very fine particles or a mixture of propellant 12 and others also present. And also a lowering on vapor pressure produced by the adding of less volatile solvent like ethyl alcohol, ethyl acetate, propylene glycol and glycerin and acetone. So the second system is water-based system. So in the water-based system, the formulation must consist of the dispersion of active ingredients and also the other solvent in an emulsion system, and also in which the propellant is an external phase, since the propellant and the water are not miscible in the water-based system. And a three-phase aerosol foams. So in the water-based system there are three-phase aerosol foams. They are propellant phase, water phase and vapor phase. And in C2H5OH is used as a co-solvent to stabilize the propellant in water. So in the GPAT, there is a question, which agent is used as a co-solvent for solubilize the propellant in water, and the right answer is C2H5OH. So next we see the surfactants. The surfactants are for satisfactory homogeneous dispersions, that means 0.5 to 2%, and acid ester of polyphasic compounds such as glycol, glycerin, sorbitol, ester of oleic, stearic, palmitic acid and lauric acids. So the propellant is 25 to 60%, but can be as low as 5% to achieve the desired fine particle size. And also a mechanical breakup actuator must be used along with the vapor tap value. A recent development that is used for pharmaceutical aerosol is Aquasol. So in the GPAT there is a question, which is a recent development that is useful for the pharmaceutical aerosol, and the right answer is Aquasol. And also this Aquasol gives the for it use for the fine mist and spray of active ingredients dissolved in water, and it produces this. This is not possible with three-phase system. And note that the difference between Aquasol system and a three-phase system in that the former dispense a fairly dry spray with very small particles, and in that the fine and almost dry spray obtained by 6 parts of water, that means H2O, plus 1 part of hydrocarbon propellant, and also the 30 parts of H2O plus 1 part of propellant is more coarse spray. The 30 parts of H2O is more coarse spray. So the third one is suspension or the dispersion system. So this suspension or the dispersion system developed for the orally for use with oral inhalational aerosol, and also in that the dispersion of active ingredients in the propellant of mixture of propellants, various surfactants and dispensing is added, then it decreases the rate of setting of dispersed particles. This is motto behind this suspension system. The motto is decrease the rate of setting of the dispersed particles, and also the primary use for the oral inhalational aerosols. So next we see the physical stability of an aerosol dispersion can be increased by the use of control of moisture content, and also the use of derivatives of active ingredients having the minimum solubility in propellant system. They are rates of initial particle size to less than 5 micron. So the rates of initial particle size to less than 5 micron, and this adjustment of the density of propellant, and it is used for the dispensing agents. And in the formulation, the steroidal compounds such as oleic acid and propellant 11 or propellant 12, and also the dispersing agents for these dispersing agents are for use in the prevent agglomeration and also wall lubrication, and these dispersing agents prevents the sticking of meter valve. And also the moisture content of suspending agents and propellants affects the stability of aerosol, and these should be below 800 parts per million for both suspending agents and propellant, and above these, and also this increases the particle agglomeration. This increase in particle agglomeration, this is to be avoided. And the epinephrine bitartrate. So the epinephrine bitartrate preferred as a suspension formulation, while in solution as epinephrine hydrochloric acid, that means epinephrine HCl or epinephrine SO4 sulfur tetraoxide. So these are solutions in a hydroalcohol solution which is miscible with the propellants, and other surfactants and lubricants are used to control the rate of agglomeration. They are isopropyl, myristate and mineral oils, and also the non-ionic surfactants are most effective, and the HLB is greater than 10 in the non-ionic surfactants. They are more effective, and the for examples are concentration is 0.01 to 1%. They are sorbitan monooleate, sorbitan sesquioleate and sorbitan monolaurate. So sorbitan monooleate, sorbitan monolaurate and sorbitan sesquioleate, these are the examples of the non-ionic surfactants. So the non-ionic surfactants are most more effective and most effective. So this is more important. So the next system is foam system. So the foam system, this foam system consists of active ingredients. They are aqueous or in the non-aqueous vehicles, surfactants, propellants, and the dispense as stable or in quick breaking foam. So in the foam system consists of active ingredients such as aqueous or non-aqueous vehicles, surfactants, propellant, and dispense as stable or quick breaking foam. And also the non-aerosol emulsions are usually in lotion or viscous by foam, but aerosol emulsions are dispensed as a foam. So next we see the types of foam. The first one is aqueous stable foam are steroids, antibiotics, aerosol foam in that surfactants that shows some solubility in propellants where most effective as the concentration of hydrocarbon propellant increases the stiffness. And also the non-aqueous stable foam. This non-aqueous stable foam is suspending agent used. They are polyethylene glycol or propylene glycol, monostearate, and these all are polyethylene glycol, propylene glycol, and monostearate. They are most effective emulsifying agents. And also third one is quick breaking form. In the quick breaking foam, there is special use for the topical medication. Products emitted as a foam collapse into the liquid. And also the surfactant use, they are non-ionic and anionic and cationic. So the surfactant use are cationic, anionic, and non-ionic. For examples is Polovax. So the Polovax consisting of a sterile alcohol and ethylene oxide reactive products. So in the GPAT there is a question, which compound or substance consists of a sterile alcohol and ethylene oxide reactive product, and the right answer is Polovax. So the next one is thermal foam. So in the thermal foam, this thermal foam is produced by warm foam for the shaving. And the next last one is inhalational aerosol. This inhalational aerosol is intended to produce the local or systemic effects. So next we see the aerosol products. First we see the trade name, dosage form, and active ingredient and indications. So the first trade name is Decadron. So the dosage form of Decadron is pressurized and the active ingredient is dexamethasone and indication is allergic. So the next trade name is Turbinair. So this Turbinair is the dosage form for the Turbinair is aerosol suspension and the active ingredients in Turbinair is sodium phosphate and the indications for this Turbinair is inflammatory nasal condition. So next trade name is Biconose and the active ingredient in Biconose is beclomethasone and the indication is for Biconose is seasonal and perennial rhinitis. So the indication of Biconose is seasonal and perennial rhinitis and the active ingredient in Biconose is beclomethasone. So the next one is trade name is Vancinase. So the active ingredient in Vancinase is dispropionate and the indication for this Vancinase is rhinitis and the active ingredient in Vancinase is dispropionate. So the next one is basic formulation for the intranasal aerosol and the active ingredients is microionize. This active ingredient microionize up to the 1% of weight and the dispensing agents, additives, solvents, etc. up to 1% are used, and the propellant 12 or propellant 11, the ratio of propellant 12 as to 11 is 60 as to 40 and this ratio is up to 98% or also 100%. And the major difference between inhalational aerosol and intranasal aerosol products is design of the adapter. So in the inhalational aerosol and intranasal aerosol products, there is only one difference, that in the design of the adapter. So the next we see the selection of components. The first is propellants. In that the hydrocarbons were restricted to use with the foam and water-based aerosols, and these propellants found safe in solvent base as well as compressed gas were limited value in aqueous products where propellant and water were not miscible. And the second one is containers. In the containers glass and metals are used and the glass is preferred but its use is only limited use. And when total pressure of the system is below 25 psig and there is no more than 15% propellant and glass can be safely used in that condition. And when pressure up to 33 psig can be used on conjunction with a glass container having double plastic outer coat. And also the products, these products having pH and water utilizing organ lining of the epoxy and or vinyl resins. The epoxies, these epoxy have greater degree of stability and this epoxy forms the poorly resistant to steam and this cannot be used for the final product. For the product that must be stabilized or filled hot at 200 degrees Celsius. Undercoat of vinyl and tap of epoxy resin is an advantage of the aqueous product of low pH and when of 2% of tin and 98% of lead is used when the pressure is 40 psig produced and also when soaps are involved in the products gives the soaps plus lead gives the insoluble leads salts and this gives the valve clogging and this for this purpose a combination of tin, silver and other metals are used or the pure tin is used. And also the solvents. The solvents by anodizing the aluminium and adding water to formula 2 to 3% of water tend to inhibit this reaction. So the next one is non-polar solvents. So the non-polar solvents are safe in aluminium container and the polar solvents are corrosive to aluminium and so the polar solvents are corrosive to aluminium and they are controlled by the addition of water. And also the fourth one is other containers. The other containers power flow FLO. This other containers power flow is used for the ointment and creams. In that the laminated film made into a flexible bag and this is perforated dip tube is attached to wall and function is to prevent the bag for collapsing as the content are used. And the system turned as power flow and it consists of aluminium cartridge containing propellant 12 and an on aerosol valve and the purpose is to separation of propellant from the product and when specially designed actuator is depressed propellant vapor escapes from the propellant chamber. This is known as Centuripex. The Centuripex produces the drawing up some of the products. So next we see the manufacturing of the pharmaceutical aerosol. So the manufacturing of pharmaceutical aerosol is at minus 40 degree Fahrenheit. So in that the first one is pressure filling apparatus. So in the pressure filling apparatus consists of a pressure burette capable of metering small volume of liquefied gas under the pressure and this is not for inhalational aerosol filled with. The second one is cold filling apparatus. The cold filling apparatus is known as Freon cylinder. This Freon cylinder is insulated box filled with Q tubing filled with dry ice acetone and these cold filling apparatus can be used with meter valve as well as with the non-metered valve and it is not used to fill the hydrocarbon aerosols. So next we see the large scale equipment such as concentrate filter, valve placer, purger and vacuum crimper and pressure filler and leak test tank. So and also the according to DOT regulation each completed container filled for shipment must have been heated until this content reaches to 0 and minimum of 130 degree Fahrenheit or attain the pressure it would exert at this temperature and without the evidence of leaking, distortion or the other effects. So the manufacturing process are of two types, in that the manufacturing of concentrate and in that the addition of propellants. And also the cold filling method required for the chilling of all components including the concentrate, propellant and this process is carried out at temperature minus 30 degree or minus 40 degree Fahrenheit and in that the pressure filling method carried out at the room temperature. So the cold filling method is restricted to the non-aqueous products and also the products not adversely affected at low temperature, that means minus 40 degree Fahrenheit, and also the for product adversely affected by air that may be trapped within the container, the air in the headspace is evacuated prior to the adding propellants. And also this gives the following addition of the propellants. And also the some solutions, emulsions, suspensions cannot be chilled, so pressure method is preferred. And also the advantages of pressure filling method, they are in less danger of contamination and moisture, and also the high production speed, and also less propellant lost, and also the method not limited. So these are the advantages of pressure filling method. Is method not limited, less propellant loss, high production speed, and less danger of contamination and moisture. And also it accepts certain types of method value. And next we see the testing of pharmaceutical aerosol. The testing of pharmaceutical aerosol, the first one is test is flammability and combustibility. The first one is flashpoint method, and second one is flame extension including the flame back. And also the second one is physiochemical characteristics such as vapor pressure, moisture content, concentrate propellant ratio, density, and identification of propellants. So the next one is performance. The performance in that spray pattern, net content, particle size determination, leakage, foam stability, dosage and metered value, and aerosol value discharge rate are to be checked in the performance. And also the biological characteristics such as flame projection. So in the flame projection, effect of the aerosol formulation on the extension of an open flame spread for about 4 seconds. And the flash point, in the flash point determined by standard tagged open cup apparatus, aerosol product chilled to temperature about 25 degree Fahrenheit, and it transferred to test apparatus. Then the test liquid allowed to increase the slowly in temperature, and then vapor ignite, and then temperature at which ignition occurs is known as the flash point. So the third biological characteristic is vapor pressure. So this vapor pressure is measured with pressure gauge, and it can puncturing device is available for the accurate measurement. And the fourth one is density. This density is measured through the hydrometer or pycnometer. So in the GPAT there is a question, which device is used for the measurement of density in aerosol, and the right answer is pycnometer or hydrometer. Next one is moisture. So in the moisture there is Karl-Fischer method and gas chromatographies are used. And next one is identification of propellant. So for the identification of propellant there is gas chromatography and infrared spectroscopies are used. So next one is aerosol wall discharge rate. So the aerosol wall discharge rate is the change in weight of container per time dispensed, is the discharge rate expressed as gram per seconds. And the last one is particle size determination. This particle size determination is for cascade impactor and light scattering decay methods are used for the particle size determination. And the aerosol passes through a series. So the aerosol passes through a series of nozzle of increasing the diameter under the vacuum. Particles suspended in air will cause a scattering of light noted by the photo detector. So in the aerosol we see the various components of aerosol, basic characteristics of aerosol. Then next we see the testing of pharmaceutical aerosols and some manufacturing of pharmaceutical aerosol and various aerosol products used in aerosol. So here is the end of this chapter aerosol. So hope you like this chapter aerosol, and if you don't understand this chapter, please comment on the comment section, and please share this video to more and more to your GPAT aspirants as well as CET aspirants too. And also please like, share and subscribe to our channel PharmaXTech and stay connected with PharmaXTech. And please like, share and please subscribe to our channel PharmaXTech, because only pharmacy student can achieve these goals of GPAT. So these videos are more important for those students who preparing for GPAT. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you for watching. Stay connected with PharmaXTech. Stay tuned. Thank you. Stay tuned. Thank you. Welcome students to our new YouTube channel PharmaXTech, the division of excellence. So let's start to the aerosol. So in last we see the aerosol part first. Then let's continue to the aerosol part 2. So in the first part we see the some basic informative study of the aerosol. So in the next part aerosol, we see